video. Today we're going to go over Deadpool's celebrity workout by Men's Health. I understand this video is a bit old, but I do want to try something different on my channel where I break down workouts. Of course, this is a workout, not an entire program, so we will be looking at exercise selection and comparing it to what I do for my clients. So what we're going to do is go ahead and skip the intro because all it does is explain that Ryan Reynolds does his own stunts and why he trains the way he does, I suppose. So we're going to get right into how to train like Ryan Reynolds.
When he walks into a workout is his breathing. So we lay him down on the floor in about a 90-90 position with his heels elevated, and we get him belly breathing for about 3 minutes. Give me an 8-second exhale, okay? And then he's gonna give me a 4-second inhale. By getting your ribs to get into a better position, you're gonna find that your body just moves in
Reynolds. So the first thing his trainer would have Ryan Reynolds doing, he's obviously not in this video, presumably because he's busy, but we don't know. But the first thing he has him do is belly breathing, otherwise known as 90-90 breathing. So you lay on the ground, your legs are at a 90-degree angle, and you practice breathing. I don't do this, but I think this is a good drill to start off with. Get your client into the rhythm of breathing. Not a bad way to start.
Feels a lot better. Right after that, we go into some foam rolling. Spend about 3 minutes doing that as well. The body is just gonna get a lot of waste out of it. And we're gonna find that when it comes down to warming up, we're gonna get the body to warm up a lot more quickly and a lot more efficiently.
I have no idea what he's trying to say here, but foam rolling is fine to start off with before you get into your more dynamic warm-up. Don't see any problem with this. Let's keep going.
Rather than taking Ryan and throwing him on a bike or a treadmill, I really kind of dive in and look into the areas of his body that are a little bit tight. We're trying to get some good movement back into his thoracic spine. We do all this sitting, this starts locking up, and that can also lead to a lot of shoulder restrictions. It can also lead to a lot of hip restrictions. What we're doing now is we're really focusing on his upper body rotation. So the way that his upper body rotates, we need it to come from his middle back, not his lower back. All the rotation is gonna come from his hips. He's gonna do about 5 repetitions counterclockwise, and he's gonna do about 5 repetitions clockwise. At that point, we go into the strength and conditioning.
Then he goes into 3 dynamic stretches, which is absolutely fine. Typically, you want to avoid static stretching before lifting. It is not such a big deal that I would absolutely recommend against it. It's just something that I think you should avoid before and do after your lifts. But dynamic stretching is fine. Absolutely, do it before you get into your workout. Not a bad idea.
There is no best exercise, but this is definitely one of my favorite ones, and why. This is a big way that we really focus on the core. This is another way that we get our body to be fast, but it trains the entire body. And it also gives you a little bit of that metabolic effect to where the heart rate's up, and we're training the entire back side of the body, which is the posterior chain, which is the most important side of the body to train.
So he starts off the resistance training portion with kettlebell swings. Not a bad way to start. I usually like to start off with compound lifts. However, seeing that I've seen this video about 8 times, I don't have such a big deal with this because of what he does next, and I'll explain when we get to the next one. My only issue is that the reps are really low and the weight is really low. And I think that can be attributed to demo purposes because usually, unless you're a small person, that is extremely easy. So we're going to assume it's for demo purposes, not so much this is the weight he would usually use. So
there's 2 different ways we can go about doing the front squat. We can go more of the powerlifting rack position, which is something that Brett and I both take, or there's nothing wrong with going more into what we call like a bodybuilding squat. If at any point this does not feel right or uncomfortable, let's go grab a kettlebell and we can go into a goblet squat.
Next up, he goes into the front squat. Usually I would switch the kettlebell swings and front squat in order of sequence, but this is fine. So what's interesting is that he gives 2 different ways to do it. He does say powerlifting form when it's more Olympic lifting form. I I know that's a little bit of a nitpick, but whatever. And he also gives an alternative, which is really awesome. I think more workouts should do this. I don't put the alternative in the programs I write, but anytime there's an issue with an exercise and my client tells me, I'll switch it out, or we can talk about it and see if like what they're doing is right. Maybe it's the angle, and if we can't reconcile it, then I'll switch it out with a different exercise. But I feel like if you're going to make workout videos online and just give them out, you should give alternatives to some exercises, since some are a bit more technical than others, and sometimes injuries, limitations in flexibility, all of that can get in the way of doing some exercises. So I think this is honestly really great so far.
Very controlled tempo on the way down, and explosive positive on the way up.
Next we go into a bench press, which is not very well explained at all why we're doing it, but it is a full body workout. He's doing a horizontal push, and he's going to do pull-ups right after this. I'm just going to tell you ahead of time. So it's agonist, antagonist. So you work one muscle group, and then you work what would presumably be the opposite. He's doing it horizontal push, vertical pull. I do this with some of my programs, not all of them. It depends on how much I'm beating up a certain muscle group. But cool thing is that he did include bench press. Now there are many variations of bench press. He didn't specify which one. So let's say he's doing the standard one. I don't love the guy's form, but that's more me than anything. You could do it. His wrists are very bent backwards because the bar is more in his knuckles than in his palm. I like the bulldog grip, which takes some getting used to, but it does help with relieving tension on the wrist and really getting the bar over your forearm and bone structure. So that's really cool. Yeah, again, don't have a problem with the exercise choice. I think it's great so far. And then we're going to go into pull-ups next.
One of my favorite pulling exercises, that's a pull-up. And for those of you who are struggling to do pull-ups, which is a lot of people, we're gonna use a band, literally giving you almost that slingshot effect to where it's able to bring you up to the bar, get you a lot stronger, get you doing pull-ups, and build a lot of confidence.
So like I said, he goes into pull-ups next, and what's really cool, similar to the front squat, he gives an alternative somewhat, where if you have big loop bands, you can wrap them around the bar and put your foot in them. You have to be a bit careful because you can lose your footing and fall and bust ass, and it's funny for everyone but you. It's really cool that he's giving assistance or alternatives to help people do these exercises. I wish he did it for all of them, like all the exercises, but he does it for some, and I guess some is better than nothing.
I've got 20 to 30 different variations of carries. The first one we're going to start with is just a one-arm suitcase carry. You will not see me design a program and not have carries in that program at least one time a week. It's working your shoulders, it's working your grip. One of the biggest bang for your buck movements that you can be doing.
So from this point, he goes into carries. He does several ones. He does a suitcase carry. I love those. I give them to many of my clients. He does a regular farmer's carry. Again, great exercise. I love it. A little bit less core than the suitcase carry since you don't have the anti-rotational aspect, but still a great exercise. Then he goes into a rack carry. I would say the guy could have his elbow a little bit higher, but again, another great carry. Then he calls the overhead carry a waiter's carry. I guess the name doesn't really matter since you're doing the same thing, but I don't see this as a waiter's carry because I've never seen a waiter hold food so high up unless they're like super busy and they're trying to get through a crowd. Other than that, it's usually at 90-90, which is the next exercise. So I think that's a bit strange. Yeah, everything's really solid here.
After the workout, we may finish with some conditioning, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes of some, Airdyne bike, some Versa climber, something to really elevate the heart rate.
And at the very end, he reveals that he's going to do this in a circuit, which is fine. I think it does limit this workout's usability since you need like 2 racks, kettlebell, and space to walk. So not a lot of people will be able to do this if they don't have all that equipment available, which is encouragement to get to the gym extremely early before everyone gets there so you can do this. But I do think that does limit the general ability of this workout. Circuit training's great, saves a lot of time since your rest is at the end of doing all these exercises. Then he says he finishes with conditioning, which is fine. I'm a big fan of doing conditioning before and after the workout. So like 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after, spread it out. That all depends on goals. If you're trying to build mass, I would do conditioning way after the actual workout or way before, several hours before. But yeah, this is a great video. I think this is a pretty solid workout. Yeah, I have no qualms with it. I just wanted to break down something. Anyway, end of the video. Online coaching is in the description. Veterans, active military, and first responders get priority spots. Otherwise, just fill out the application, and if I have an open spot, I will contact you. Merchandise is also in the description below if you want to help me out. Put in comments. Tell me what you want to see next. I'm thinking another superhero, maybe just some online workout. Don't know, but whatever you want to see me break down, whether you think it's good or bad, throw it in the comments and we'll see what happens next. Anyway, this is Swollpool at Great Hammer Fitness. See you later.